What's up, everyone? Welcome to another incredible session here at Green Jobs Pavilion 2025. We're here with an incredible setup with the Fordham University Gabelli School of Business, where we're going to be diving into the value of an MBA and even broader than that, the value of going to grad school or getting a grad degree. And we're actually going to hear from an on-ground expert on the value of a degree, or if there's other pathways or explorations that you guys can explore for your educational needs. So I'm so excited to pass this off to Fordham to lead the charge on this. And we're so grateful to have them as a partner at this year's Pavilion. Let's get started.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Christy. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Sakowski. I serve as the Senior Associate Director for our full-time programs at the Gabelli School of Business Admissions Office. And I'm joined here with a series of our panels. Thank you so much for joining us for Is Grad School for Me? Education Options for Green Jobs. And before we begin, I just want to shout out to our Responsible Business Center. They are sponsoring the Green Pavilion as well too today, the Green Job Pavilion. And they are a platform for interdisciplinary engagement in sustainability, ethical leadership, and business responsibility. And they're also rooted in our Jesuit values. So the passion and the premise of helping to prepare future business leaders who will be inspired to inform and activate different business professionals, academics, and emerging leaders to foster a more just and sustainable business ecosystem. All right, let's begin and let's hear from our panelists. So maybe we can just go down the line here to begin. If you don't mind just telling me a little bit more about yourself, your career journey, just briefly, and maybe some academic credentials that got you to where you are today. Yangbo, do you mind if we start with you?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the invitation here. Named Yangbo Du. Yep. 20 years in various capacities in sustainability, sustainable development, social enterprise, and other sectors. So, did about 6 years of research back in the knots in energy and environmental economics and policy. Over at Chicago, then MIT. And through most of the 2010s, I was co-founding startups one after another, focused on the sustainable development goals as they emerged, and it gradually transitioned over to the impact in that side of things, given realization that there's far more financial wealth in the world than needed to achieve all 17 of the global goals. So it's not about convincing anyone to throw money at the problem, but rather project preparation, actually making sure projects are scalable and bankable. So ultimately, thanks to twists and turns of a pandemic, 5.5 years ago, I was brought on board this company called INNOVO Net Zero Limited. We ourselves are a first-of-a-kind type of organization, a project finance preparation facility, scaling up kind profitable clean tech with the aim of the world, half CO2 emissions at LA profitably by 2030 with us. So profitably. And as to credentials and such, I can say that I was indeed back at MIT 15 plus years ago on a track. I was doing research there as a fund department, and left just after getting a first degree there, which is the reason I'll get into for any Q&A session. You see much more as a downside protection than offering any upside.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Amanda?
Yeah, I can definitely go next. I'm Amanda D'Antone. I'll actually start with my credentials because I'm a current professional MBA student at Fordham's Gabelli School of Business with a concentration in global sustainability. And while I'm going to school, I work in sustainability reporting at Tiffany and Company. So I'm actually a certified public accountant. I started my career at Ernst & Young in their assurance practice, moved over to work in sustainability, and then recently transitioned to Tiffany, where I work and focus on our sustainability reporting.
Hello, I'm Dennis Hanno. I'm the Faculty Director of Entrepreneurship at Fordham in the Gabelli School of Business. My background is a higher ed background. Before being at Fordham, I was president of Wheaton College in Massachusetts, and I was provost and dean at Babson College. And while my focus on sustainability hasn't been an academic one, it's certainly been a practical one. Just a couple quick words about that. At Babson, 20 years ago, we were the first to put on campus a student-developed windmill, quite honestly. That was an initiative that they put forth, and we made it happen. It's still there to this day. At Wheaton, we installed one of the largest solar fields for a college our size that provided a great deal of the power for the whole campus. And then lastly, I've been working with various countries in Africa with small-scale entrepreneurs. And increasingly over the 20 plus years I've been doing that, more and more of those businesses in that environment have a sustainability focus. And I've helped many entrepreneurs get started with their businesses there.
Thank you. Thank you all. And thank you for being here too for this discussion. If we can just continue just asking all of you, why is sustainability becoming a critical focus in today's business landscape? And Dennis, maybe we can kick it off with you.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I think we all experience and we see and we live what's happening in our world. And I think to deny that there are not some climate changes and to deny that we have a growing green economy, higher ed institutions need to look at that and take the lead in that, as they've done in so many other areas of research. For me, I think a college or university would be remiss to ignore this. And so I'm pleased that all of the institutions I've been a part of have focused on it. But, coming to Fordham was not unrelated to seeing all the great things happening that are so consistent with Fordham's Jesuit mission. And as Christina mentioned, having the Responsible Business Center that focuses on so many different sustainability and ESG related initiatives, it's just impressive to see the opportunities that students have there. I honestly, I don't even think that it is, yes, about concentrations and coursework, but it's the environment that we create that gives students a holistic experience of focusing on sustainable business.
Thank you for that. I know we often talk about experiential learning and how that is a really big part of the educational experience. That, like you were saying, Dennis, it's not just about sitting in class, taking exams, taking classes, and doing assignments. It's what else are you doing and going that extra mile and having those connections and building that network. Wonderful. And Amanda, do you mind answering the question there too?
Yeah, I would love to. So I think from a professional standpoint, sustainability is starting to touch everything within your value chain. One thing I would love to kind of talk about is at Fordham, I was able to do a fellowship with the Responsible Business Center, and we presented at a conference talking about good business. And the biggest thing that I learned from that is there's good value in doing good business. It's not just sustainable. It's not just about saving the planet, although I know that's what we all want to do. There's also financial benefits. There's people benefits. There's so many benefits to doing sustainable work, to getting sustainable degrees, and that experience in terms of education brought me so much.
Thank you for that. And yeah, Yangbo, please.
And,
Yeah.
thirdly, to expand on those points, what is indeed happening, and it can go by many terms. You may hear different people describe it rather different ways, but sustainability, it's becoming increasingly, in many cases, tightly interlinked with or even synonymous with risk management, as in how does it affect, again, your entire value chain, for example, as a company? And what is even more greater significance than risk management is, given that now more and more companies, risk management is pretty much a given, at least from a sustainability angle. How then are you differentiating that? How are you making sustainability a profit center as opposed to a cost center? And those that make sustainability a profit center are those that are actually going to have the advantage going forward.
Thank you for that, Yangbo. If anything, you've raised a really important point here, right? In doing business, and especially sustainable business, there is an importance of still making a profit and still continuing to work and be a business running, right? And if you don't mind me asking you, what types of roles from your perspective are available to those graduates that want to pursue roles in sustainability?
Well, it fundamentally depends on what you are looking for in the areas. But in general, if you're interested in sustainability, if, for example, you're looking at sustainability as a profit center, then you might try to consider, well, how does products and service, what product and service, let's say you're in a front-facing role, you're marketing, sales, business development, front-facing role, just to give an example, how does that product or service you're selling, how does it help the customer achieve their sustainability goals? For example, let's say you're renewable energy, how are you helping them reduce their emissions? Say circular economy, materials, how are you enabling them to reduce plastic pollution, for example, achieve zero waste, and all these things. Make better use of products that otherwise sold at low value. How do you enable them to upgrade those personal products to those of a higher value? So definitely encourage those to look in the functions that traditionally might not be associated with sustainability, but could actually be very strong leverage points for it going forward, as more and more companies are now seeking to procure products and services from companies that have aligned themselves with climate targets, aligned themselves with sustainable development goals. So if you're able to do that, if you're now able to help business do that, you definitely put that company on a much more advantageous footing.
Thank you for that. And I know that you describe yourself as a sort of connector in a lot of ways to those companies being able to recognize those areas and those that work as well too. So it makes a lot of sense seeing that is, well, that's exactly what you're doing, what you're up to too. Thank you for that. And Amanda, I know that from your background that maybe it wasn't always sustainability, but what motivated you to integrate sustainability into your career path now?
For me, I think when I graduated undergrad in 2019, and back then sustainability wasn't kind of all over the place like it is now. And I don't think that I thought becoming an accountant, I could have a career in sustainability. So I simply didn't do it. I was afraid. I didn't see anything. I didn't know what to do. But sustainability was always a personal passion of mine. I am a bit of a financial statement nerd. I would also read ESG statements in my spare time that I would purchase from because I wanted to make reasonable decisions and responsible decisions about where I put my money. And so I just started asking. When I first worked, I audited hedge funds, and my hedge fund that I audited had renewable investments. I immediately raised my hand and was like, can I be a part of this? Just because I wanted to learn more. And I think I just kept asking, where can I put sustainability in what I'm doing? I don't think I thought auditing hedge funds that I'd be where I am now, but I'm so grateful for just asking for those opportunities. And I think exactly like you said, there are so many fields you may not think that's how I'm going to get my career in sustainability. But if you ask the question, I guarantee you every department is thinking about it in some lens because of climate risk and because of everything that's kind of going on.
Thank you for that, Amanda. I have a feeling the ESG reports is not like reading. Oh my goodness.
Making it kind of
Okay, all right.
Lots of pretty pictures.
yeah, lots of photos.
Dennis, for you, what advice would you give someone who is considering a graduate degree and wanting to prepare themselves for a career path that will then lead to sustainability?
First of all, I think my co-panelists they just set the classic example of what I would recommend. And the question you're asking is one that I increasingly get from all faculty. Students want to make a difference in the world, particularly at a place like Fordham. So how can I get into sustainability? And Amanda, I actually recommend your career path, basically. I'm like, first thing you got to do is you got to get a degree with a core discipline, whether it's engineering or whether it's financial side with accounting or finance. And if you really want a job in sustainability, I think what's maybe even different for 2019 is that there's lots of ways in some academic institutions to get that focus while you're pursuing core discipline. So I think what you really need to do is considering going down that path as a student and say, take a look at what you have for course options. And Fordham is a good example of that. Concentrations at both the undergrad and grad level that you can link with a core discipline. But probably even more importantly, look for the activities and some things that are already happening to you, shooting the connection to jobs and sustainability. Our Responsible Business Center is very involved in Climate Cap, which you're involved with. It's a great networking opportunity for students. I know there's a sustainability jobs fair that we're involved as well. Those are the kinds of things that I would say to a student, become an expert in your core discipline and supplement all these kinds of great opportunities.
All right, thank you for that. It sounds like there's a lot of like the trend of the function, serving the function in that area. And it sounds like everyone from our panelists here kind of mentioned that serving a function, having an idea of what do you want to provide that industry, right? Does anyone in the audience here have any questions for panelists? Yes.
I just wanted to know, in addition to pursuing like a degree in sustainability, are there any certification programs you guys recommend?
I can definitely touch on that. So I think there are. If you Google them, there's so many that you can do. There are courses you can take. I recommend anything you can do to kind of get experience, whether it's a degree, which is obviously what I chose to do, but there are, if you search certificate programs, I also think there are certain, Microsoft and some other companies have just videos you can watch where you may not get a full certificate, but it is something where you can learn more and maybe see it. Do I want to then get a degree? Do I want to then get a certificate? Because obviously investing in them can sometimes be a lot. So I always recommend, there's tons to learn. Use the internet as your best friend because there's so much out there now, which is really amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just do it. Just go, and if you want to pursue a function, I'd say especially if it's business, because honestly, the best way to learn business is doing it. Go found a company, for example. Go around to see what even add value, take on consulting assignments, whatnot. Because only then, given how dynamic this whole sustainability space is, that's honestly the only way to find out where exactly you're going to be able to function best in this whole ecosystem.
Thank you.
I think we need to wrap up, right?
Yeah, I think
All right. Thank you so much to our panelists. Thank you for joining me, Dennis, Amanda, Yangbo, and thank you for your wonderful questions. It's been a pleasure.